What if the most effective prison was one you didn't want to escape? A cage built not of iron bars, but of endless pleasure and perfect convenience. Nearly a century ago, the English writer Aldous Huxley imagined just such a world. But this wasn't a dystopia born of fear, torture, and surveillance in the way we often imagine. Huxley's Brave New World doesn't warn of a society controlled by what we hate, but one enslaved by what we love. A world where humanity is tamed not by pain, but by an infinite supply of entertainment, pharmaceuticals, and engineered happiness. It's a prophecy of the ultimate revolution, a state of servitude so comfortable, so enjoyable, that the slaves would not only accept it, but fiercely defend it. So let's explore Aldous Huxley's vision together. We'll look at the architecture of his perfect world and see how the mechanisms of control he imagined, from cradle-to-grave conditioning to the chemical pacification of the masses, are not just relics of science fiction, but a quiet reflection of our world today. The question is no longer if this world could come to be, but are we already living inside of it? The prophet of our pleasure. To understand the warning, it helps to first understand the man and his time. Aldous Huxley, born in 1894 into one of Britain's great intellectual families, was no stranger to the powerful forces shaping the 20th century. He wrote Brave New World, published in 1932, in the shadow of the First World War's devastation and in the midst of breathtaking changes in technology and society. The world was reeling. The old certainties of religion and tradition were beginning to crumble, and in their place rose new gods: science, technology, and efficiency. Henry Ford's assembly line wasn't just a way to build cars. It became a new philosophy for life itself, one that promised mass production and mass consumption. At the same time, sciences like psychology and genetics were making incredible leaps, promising humanity the power to reshape itself from the inside out. Huxley looked at this landscape of roaring factories, Freudian psychoanalysis, and a new consumer culture, and he saw worrying potential. He saw a society so obsessed with progress, so eager for comfort and the elimination of all pain, that it might willingly trade its very soul for stability. He saw that the drive for a perfect society could lead to one that was perfectly inhuman. Brave New World was his satirical masterpiece, a critique of the utopian dreams of his day. He simply took the promises of technology, pleasure, and stability and pushed them to their logical and unsettling conclusions. He wasn't just writing about some far-off future. He was holding up a mirror to the path the Western world was on, a path that has only accelerated since. The architecture of control. Huxley's world state is a marvel of social engineering, a society that has achieved total stability by getting rid of the very things we often think make us human: individuality, love, family, art, and the struggle for meaning. It's a peace that comes at the highest possible price, achieved through a meticulous, lifelong system of control. It begins, quite literally, in the bottle. In the central London hatchery and conditioning center, human beings are no longer born. They are decanted. Natural reproduction is a forgotten, almost vulgar idea. Instead, fertilized eggs are grown on an assembly line, sorted and predestined for their role in a rigid 5-tiered caste system. At the top are the alphas, the intelligent ruling class. Below them, betas, gammas, and deltas, all the way down to the semi-moronic, drone-like epsilons at the bottom. This is made possible by the Bakhanovsky process, a method of shocking an egg so that it splits into as many as 96 identical twins, creating whole teams of standardized workers. From the moment of conception, your identity isn't your own. It's a product manufactured by the state. But building the body is just the first step. The real genius of the world state is in its control of the mind. This is where conditioning comes in. From infancy, every citizen is exposed to a constant stream of psychological conditioning. In what's called neo-Pavlovian conditioning, babies destined for lower castes are shown beautiful books and flowers, only to be frightened with loud alarms and electric shocks. The result is an ingrained, subconscious hatred of nature and knowledge, making sure they'll never want anything beyond their simple, prescribed jobs. Perhaps the most subtle form of control, though, is hypnopedia, or sleep teaching. Every night, for years, children and adults listen to whispered slogans and moral lessons on endless loops. Phrases like, "A gram is better than a dam," "Ending is better than mending," and "Everyone belongs to everyone else" aren't learned, they're absorbed. They become fundamental truths, written directly onto the subconscious. This is how the state installs its operating system onto the human mind, creating citizens who don't just obey, but are almost incapable of thinking a thought that would challenge the system. To secure this stability, the world state had to tear down the entire landscape of human experience. The family, with its messy loyalties and intense emotions, was abolished. The words mother and father are now almost like curse words. Romantic love and jealousy have been replaced by casual, promiscuous sex, driven by the belief that everyone belongs to everyone else. Deep emotional bonds are seen as a threat to the whole. History, too, has been erased. As the world controller Mustafa Mont says, history is bunk. Museums are shut, monuments torn down. Without a past, there's no way to judge the present, no memory of what was lost. Art, literature, and religion all suffer the same fate. Why would anyone need tragic beauty or spiritual meaning when the state provides perfect, shallow contentment? And that contentment is guaranteed by the state's ultimate tool, Soma. Soma is the perfect drug. It offers all the pleasure of being high with none of the hangover. It's a chemical fix for every negative emotion. Feeling anxious? Take a gram. Frustrated? Have a Soma holiday. It is the social lubricant and the emotional safety valve of the entire society. Citizens are encouraged, even conditioned, to use it all the time. Soma ensures that no one has to sit with uncomfortable feelings, to question their reality, or to face the emptiness at the heart of their world. It's the final piece of a system designed to control people not with force, but with distraction and chemically induced bliss. It makes them love their servitude. The Ghost in the Machine, Huxley's prophecy today. When Huxley wrote Brave New World, these ideas were satire. Today, they feel uncomfortably familiar. The architecture of control he described seems to echo not in some far-off world, but in the fabric of our own lives. Of course, we haven't built physical hatcheries, but we are perfecting new forms of social and psychological engineering that often lead to similar results. Think about the world state's rigid caste system. While we don't decant alphas and epsilons from bottles, we are increasingly sorted and separated by forces we barely notice. Social media algorithms create echo chambers, feeding us content that reinforces what we already believe and quietly walling us off from different perspectives. Our news feeds, our recommended videos, our search results, they are all curated to create a personalized reality, conditioning our tastes and opinions without us even realizing it. This creates a sort of intellectual caste system, where we are less and less exposed to challenging ideas in favor of comfortable agreement. Huxley's Hypnopedia, the sleep teaching that whispered the state's ideology, has also found a modern parallel. We aren't hearing slogans while we sleep, but we are immersed in a 24/7 cycle of messaging while we're awake. Targeted advertising knows our desires and insecurities, crafting messages designed to bypass our critical thought. Influencers become walking billboards, subtly shaping what we want to buy, how we want to live, and even what we believe. Political soundbites spread through social media so quickly and are repeated so often they can feel like a substitute for real debate. And what about Soma, the miracle drug that kept everyone happy and docile? Our modern Soma isn't a single pill, but a whole ecosystem of distraction. It's the infinite scroll of a social media feed, a machine designed to keep you swiping. It's the binge watch, where streaming services automatically play the next episode, lulling you into hours of passive viewing. It's the constant chase for the next new thing, driven by fast fashion and planned obsolescence. As the social critic Neil Postman once argued, Huxley didn't fear that we would be deprived of information, but that we would be given so much we would be reduced to passivity. He feared the truth would simply be drowned in a sea of irrelevance. Our digital world offers an endless supply of distraction that serves the same purpose as Soma. It keeps us entertained and too preoccupied to engage with complex realities. Even the world state's approach to relationships feels prophetic. The slogan, "Everyone belongs to everyone else," was meant to eliminate intense, messy emotions like love and jealousy. Today, we live in a strange paradox of being constantly connected, yet deeply lonely. Social media gives us the illusion of a huge social circle, while dating apps offer an endless supply of potential partners, often reducing connection to a series of swipes. We have more ways to connect than ever, yet rates of loneliness continue to climb, as if the digital version of community just doesn't quite satisfy a fundamental human need. Perhaps the most direct parallel is the feelies, Huxley's immersive multi-sensory films. Today, we are on the edge of mainstream virtual and augmented reality. The goal is the same: to create entertainment so total that it becomes better than reality itself. What makes our situation so unique is that we seem to be blending two different dystopian warnings. We readopting the pleasure-based control of Brave New World, while also using the surveillance of George Orwell's 1984. Orwell feared a world where Big Brother watches you through a telescreen. Today, we carry that telescreen in our pockets. We willingly give our data to corporations in exchange for convenience. We are tracked and sorted, but because it is often done to give us better services or more personalized content, we accept it. Orwell feared that what we hate will ruin us. Huxley feared that what we love will ruin us. It seems we are being amused into submission and monitored for compliance. A prison built from both comfort and fear. The Savage Interruption. Into this perfectly stable, perfectly controlled world, Huxley introduces a disruption. A bug in the system. His name is John, but he becomes known as the Savage. John is a true outsider. He was not decanted, but was born at a place called Savage Reservation in New Mexico. one of the few places left untouched by the world state. He grew up without conditioning, raised by a mother who still remembers the old world and among a people who still practice religion, marriage, and ancient rituals. His education came not from whispered slogans, but from a single tattered book, the complete works of William Shakespeare. From Shakespeare, John learned of passion, love, honor, and tragedy, emotions that are completely foreign to the citizens of the world state. When he is brought to London as a sort of living curiosity, he represents a total clash of values. He is a man who has known pain and therefore understands beauty. He has experienced solitude and therefore understands connection. He has read of heroism and sacrifice and is horrified by the trivial, empty pleasures of the civilized world. John's arrival is a problem for the world state story. He is living proof of everything it tried to erase. He looks at their perfect world and sees a meaningless cage. He rejects their easy pleasures, their casual sex, and their chemical happiness. He is the ghost of the humanity they sacrificed, a wrench thrown into the gears of their perfect machine. His presence forces a confrontation, making us ask, what did humanity lose to gain this paradise? The right to be unhappy. The philosophical heart of Brave New World comes in its final chapters, in a profound debate between John the Savage and the world controller for Western Europe, Mustafa Mont. This isn't a simple battle of good versus evil. It's a battle between two completely different ideas of what it means to be human. Mustafa Mont is not a simple villain. He is brilliant, charming, and intelligent. He is one of the few who knows what the world gave up, because he himself reads Shakespeare and the Bible, which are kept locked away. He is the ultimate benevolent dictator, the shepherd who has engineered a safe, happy pasture for his human flock. He defends his world with cold, perfect logic. He argues that art, science, and religion had to be sacrificed because they lead to instability and misery. Happiness, he argues, is the ultimate good, and universal happiness can only be achieved by eliminating deep feeling, intense love, and profound choice. John, fueled by the poetry of Shakespeare, counters with the raw, desperate cry of the human spirit. He argues that Mont's world is a cheap imitation of humanity. He defends the value of struggle, of facing pain and overcoming it. When Mont dismisses Shakespeare as old and irrelevant, John retorts that it's about beauty and meaning, things the world state has traded for cheap thrills. The climax of their argument arrives when John makes his final defiant claim. He doesn't want the sterile comfort Mont offers. He wants the full spectrum of human experience, both the good and the bad. In one of the most powerful passages in all of literature, John tells the controller, "But I don't want comfort. I want God. I want poetry. I want real danger. I want freedom. I want goodness. I want sin." Mont, with a calm, almost sad understanding, replies, "In fact, you're claiming the right to be unhappy." And John, without hesitation, confirms it. "All right then, I'm claiming the right to be unhappy." He goes on to claim the right to grow old and sick, to be tormented by doubt and pain. This is the ultimate rejection of the brave new world. John chooses the turbulent, difficult, and messy reality of human life over the placid, meaningless perfection of an engineered paradise. The debate leaves us with the book's central, haunting question. Is a world without suffering worth having if it is also a world without meaning? And what is freedom? Is it freedom from pain, or the freedom to choose our own path, even if that path leads straight to it? What if the greatest threat to freedom isn't oppression, but comfort? What if the real danger isn't that someone will take away your rights, but that you'll give them up gladly for convenience and pleasure? Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World nearly a century ago, yet his warning has never felt more relevant. For decades, we've been captivated by George Orwell's vision of 1984, with its boot stamping on a human face and its tyranny of pain. We've been taught to watch for the tyrants who would ban books. But Huxley warned of a much quieter, more subtle kind of control. He feared a world where there would be no reason to ban a book, because no one would want to read one. He feared a culture so saturated with entertainment, so obsessed with pleasure, and so addicted to distraction that it would simply lose interest in the truth. He predicted a world where people would come to love their oppression, to adore the very technologies that undo their capacity to think. This is the warning of Brave New World. It is a warning not about a future forced upon us, but one we are quietly choosing click by click, scroll by scroll. It is the danger of becoming so comfortable that we stop noticing the slow erosion of our freedom. Huxley's prophecy wasn't that someone would take our freedom, but that we would hand it over willingly, trading the difficult, messy, beautiful chaos of being human for a comfortable, stable, and ultimately meaningless servitude. So I'd love to hear from you. Which part of Huxley's vision do you see most clearly in our world today? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this video made you think, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this, and tap the notification bell so you never miss the next one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.